well. If you have any question, make sure you keep on asking the questions as well. So, chapter 12, the role and impact of IT in society. Let me just admit everyone. Right. So first of all, obviously, again, these are typical, but the questions come indirectly as well. So obviously, we're supposed to know this. We should have relevant points, relevant keywords in mind. E-commerce, e-business, okay, what it is. You have to talk about different applications, the advantages to the owner who runs an e-commerce based website and to the client. Also, all those things have to be dealt with. So obviously, you are discussing about online shopping. What are the advantages? What are the disadvantages? Okay, using your phone, you can, or using your laptop, you can sit from home and you can shop things online. So we've talked about this a lot before as well. As far as online banking is concerned, online banking simply means you can do all your banking transactions from transferring your amounts from one bank to the other, paying lots of bills online, applying for a checkbook online as well, take out the balance statement from online. Okay. So you can obviously avail the e-banking. Again, the same points are that disabled people have a lot of advantage, or elderly people have a lot of advantage. You don't have to travel and so on and so all these tend to be the advantage of this. Okay, so all these are the things that you can do with online banking, right? So as far as the banks are concerned, they have obviously lots of advantages where they do not have to pay for overhead expenses. They can hire less employees, but at the same time, banks do also have a lot of disadvantage to this as well. There is something known as your personal connection with the clients. This is not established. At times, you want to meet people face to face. This cannot be done with online banking. So you will lose the connection that you have with your clients when it's in physical form rather than just online. Okay, face to face obviously is very important. Electronic funds transfer. Well, let's talk about all this. All of you do know this, but let me talk about it again. Electronic funds transfer. Electronic funds transfer basically means that you can use your credit card, and you can, when you purchase something, you can pay it through the credit card, whether it's online, whether it's offline. So when you use credit card to pay for something, whether it's e-commerce based, okay, first of all, your bank server that holds your account information, first of all, your credit card that you have, its expiry date is checked. Okay, its other details, the name is checked. If everything is fine, okay, then it checks that whether you have sufficient balance in your account. If you have sufficient balance in your account, then the process will be carried on. Otherwise, the process does not proceed further. Okay. ये सारी advantages हैं आपके electronic funds transfer, which can happen online. So you can pay lots of bills online. So you can carry lots of transactions online. Okay. You can talk about over here is that there can be hackers, big problem. So let's say you can get a question where they say that the following e-commerce based website accepts accepts credit cards. Are you concerned about them using electronic funds transfer or not? Well, obviously, I can make an argument. I can say, yes, I am concerned because there could be obviously a problem where hackers could intercept into the very much secure website, and they could get our details or get our credit card details. So obviously, one can be reluctant to use the credit card or for e-commerce based websites, okay, or even for e-banking. But on the other hand, if I want to defend e-commerce and e-banking, I would say is that these are very much secure. These websites are very much secure because they have secure socket layers, okay. They have transport layer security, okay. Transport layer security is one of the protocol layer that enables your data to be encrypted in such a form that no one in between can intercept the data that is going from your computer to the server. Okay, this transport layer protocol. And on the other hand, by the use of HTTPS, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, by using HTTPS, obviously I will be sure that since the domain is on the following protocol, my data again will be much secure. So by using this padlock, which means as you can see over here is even the website that I have right now, Saem.com, you can see this padlock is there. The padlock basically means that I have a valid certificate on this particular website. Now, the valid certificate basically means is why do I need a valid certificate? What happens is previously my website was on HTTP, not HTTPS, but Google made a restriction that all the websites have to have HTTPS. So now what happens is that when you visit my website and you request from the server the main page or any go to any page, obviously, first of all, my website has this coding, which is your certificate coding. And this coding basically tells the server, okay, fine, the following code does appear on the website, which means it's secure. So this code can be generated by the server. You have to pay them, the company, or you can type in the code yourself. It's complex code, and you can put it on the website. Okay, but even then, if you type in the code yourself, you need to get verified it from the server, and they verify it and they give it to you. Then you can embed that code onto your website. Once you embed that particular code onto your website tends to become a secure website, which means now my website can easily get the files from the server. So this is how you get proper websites. Okay. Automatic stock controls is basically, again, you are discussing over here is electronic funds transfer, okay, and point of sale terminal. So electronic funds transfer obviously mean use of credit card and then paid through at a particular shopping, whatever you may call it. So when you go for shopping, obviously they have their own system in inventory where they have all the stock listed. So when you buy things, obviously if you buy 10 items, 10 items are subtracted from the original stock. But in this case, when you present your credit card, first of all, your transaction goes on with the bank and bank checks all the details and subtracts the amount upon verification. Once that is done, it comes to point of sale terminal, and point of sale terminal. What happens is after accepting the payment, the amounts are deducted of the items, okay, and it's updated in the stock inventory control of the store. So if you have bought different items, the following items will be updated in their stock. Okay. In the same context, there is another terminology which is known as the reorder level, which means at times there are some things which have to be reordered and which are on demand. So we set up a reorder level that when the stock falls to 10, we are going to reorder it again. This terminology is known as reordering level. You have to remember that. Okay. And there is another terminology that you guys should be aware. It is basically known as just in time. Just in time basically means there are some perishable items such as vegetables, okay, meat items and all that. Just in time have to be delivered right away. For example, McDonald's, they're working right now with green mint or let's say cabbages or whatever. They want the fresh item. They will not get it delivered to the stock room and directly to their branches. So just in time comes directly to the places, does not go in the stock rooms. So reorder level and just in time, two terminologies that you should be aware of. Okay, right. Then we have this. Yeah, you go through it and you have to, I've explained all this. How does it come? The physical level is lower. Then I've explained all this. I've explained it. Okay, right. Stock control. Digital currency. Well, all you're supposed to know is that Bitcoin is one of the example. So your currency is represented in the form of digits. Okay, it does not physically exist. Okay, right? So digital currency obviously is becoming common, but the reason why it did not grow to a lot of extent was because of the dark web, because dark web has been using digital currency a lot. So yeah, so since it has been used for illegal purposes, it has not become very common. But obviously, they're trying to make it secure and all that, trying to make it traceable as well. So it is growing. It will still take time for digital currency to become standard and replace the standard currencies. Okay, but till now it's not. So there are people who invest in bitcoins a lot. Well, if you say Bitcoin like 5 years back stood at let's say if, when I was going to buy it, it was for 5,000 US dollars. For 5,000 US dollars, you were just getting one Bitcoin. Yeah, you'll be surprised. Right now, I don't know the current standing, but I think so. It's at 30,000, I believe. It went till 80,000. Okay, the Bitcoin. This is US dollars. So there's a lot of fluctuation in Bitcoin. That tends to be a big problem for people who tend to buy it for their daily purchases and all that. So because of this fluctuation, there's a lot of concern in the market. As far as investment is concerned, obviously, because of this lots of fluctuation going on, there's a big people are skeptical about it. Now, this fluctuation actually is also because it's very it's not very easy. I would say that it is very much possible to hack into the Bitcoin database bank and extract Bitcoins. So there have been cases where Bitcoins have been hacked, and obviously people have been able to get into it. So unless and until it becomes a standard, becomes very secure, Bitcoin will take time to become a digital currency and become common practice for everyone. Right now, Bitcoin is not a standard practice going on everywhere right now. Data mining is a general terminology which simply means that you have to extract information. We did discuss data mining in expert system where we were discussing what? We were discussing that how do we create a knowledge base for an expert system. Whenever we create the knowledge base of an expert system, that knowledge base is done by data mining to get the data out, to get the data and store it in a database. Now, to store the data in a database, you learned some data mining analysis ways. So, how do you get the data? How do you group the data? How do you place the data in database so that it can be retrieved afterwards by an express system or by any other means? They are different. There is anomaly detection. Anomaly detection basically means is that you will have some data that would require further investigation. So if there is some data that does not have a lot of information, it's just data, we will categorize it as anomaly detection, right? Then you have it as an association rule. Association rule simply means is that you will have a relationship between variables. So there will be different variables that will be associated. This is obviously how shopping websites work. So let's say you're buying some items for your car. You buy let's say car polish as well. You will be recommended in your list to buy something related to upholstery of the car or maybe clothes or something else like that. So the category that you're shopping, that particular category becomes part of your association rule. Cluster detection basically means that your data will be clustered into groups and subgroups. Electronics will be a group or some other groups. You'll put them in some different category. So these are different ways you can categorize. I repeat again, different ways through which your data that has been retrieved through the data mining process can be grouped. Classification, classifying data on existing groups or categories. This is how spam filtering works, which means basically classification, you can classify like .exe file. If I have an exe file, it will obviously, it is probability it might consist of a virus. So spam filters will filter out all the exe files. So this is how basically spam filter also works. So you classify, okay, all the files, make a list of them. That's what classification means, listing them. Regression, creating predictive models based on range. Predictive models basically means is that based on range of variables or based on previous experiences, you can create models that can tell you that which data needs to go where. Okay. Regression is also a way through which your artificial intelligence also works and tries to read the data from a database. Social networking, I don't think so. I have to explain you about it. Frankly, your generation knows a lot about it. So I'm just skipping this part. Social networking, advantage, disadvantages, yes, no, fine, no problem. Blogging, blogging, as well as video blogging as well, which is known as vlogs as well. Again, something that you know very well. It's in social. What do you need for video conferencing? What are the advantages and disadvantages of video conferencing? We've been doing since the middle school, and I think so all of you do know about it. I would like you to go through this part yourself, okay? Because majority of you do know it, but please keep on making notes of it. So that's video conferencing. Yes, I would like to talk about web conferencing. Web conferencing is basically, now it's quite the same, but it's a bit different. When you use such as webinar, that's web conferencing. When you have intranet based environment, that's web conferencing. So web conferencing basically is a video conferencing that take place on the web. Web conferencing that came into existence initially was there just for audio audio meetings, and video was not part of it. Then video became also part of it. That's why it was not known as video conferencing, just web conferencing, to share files, to share documents, okay, calendars, stuff like that. So you will have is a webcam. That's why they said it's an optional, right? If video is required for video conferencing. So generally, web conferencing is a term that also includes video conferencing. Microphone, speakers, good broadband, and web conferencing software. Okay, whatever software you're using. So it's quite the same thing, but I told you the basic difference. So as far as your web conferencing is concerned, the advantages are the host controls the content of the screen, just like video conferencing. It is difficult to tell if the person is closely following the web conferencing as they mostly cannot be seen, right? So most of you might have not used webinar. Probably in the next class, I'll try to show you webinar as well. How does it look like? Okay, how is it a bit different from video conferencing? So saves time. So again, with same points of video conferencing, same point of video conferencing, save point of video conferencing can be made at the same point of video conferencing. Documents can be shared. And if you have poor internet connection, so same points, nothing much. Teleworking simply means obviously working from home. Okay. Lots of advantages, disadvantages, you know that. Technology in society generally, in sports, well, there has been a lot of improvements in sport. And if you talk about even cricket, you have lots of sensors placed in different places. You can see the angle the ball is going. You can find out the speed, the velocity. Okay. You can use motion sensors. You can use proximity sensors. You can use speed sensors, distance sensors within the field. Okay. You can use cameras. So all this technology can be used within the field. You can use large LCDs. That's again technology in sports. At home, on the ground, we can talk about technology in sports as far as relevant fabric designing is concerned. Equipment designing is done. 3D modeling is done to design all the sports equipment. So it's a very lengthy topic. We can talk about everything. So whatever is related to the sports, okay, variable, on the ground facilities, we will talk about all of that. This is how technology in sport takes place. I'll share my notes as well with this. Technology in medicine, we've talked about this in P1 as well. Okay, from 3D printing, from DNA analysis, through mainframe computers, through simulations for medical and health, through remote operations that take place through micro robotic arms. Okay, so all this is again part of your technology in medicine. It will be good point to make just points, make points that what role does technology takes place in medicine. You should be able to list down at least 10 points, good 10 points. And so making notes for these will be a very good idea. I'm telling all of you. You make your notes, that's all what I need. These are quite generic topics. Technology in manufacturing, yeah, we talked about it. हम बात कर चुके हैं इसकी बात की कि we have to talk about robotics, sensors. General example इसकी यही है कि tin packed foods की for example हम बात करते हैं कि tin packed foods में how technology is used in manufacturing. Well, talk about raw material आया, weigh sensors को weigh किया, you put it in a container, pH sensor checks the pH value, temperature sensor takes the temperature. You might have a pressure inside that, use pressure sensor. You pack them in a tin, you put a pressure, use pressure sensor, so on so. So from the raw material till the tin packing, everywhere we are using sensors nowadays. So in manufacturing, yes, you have a lot of sensors being involved. Technology in enhanced learning, well, we are using it right now. So we have computer aided assessments, we have computer aided learning. Okay, this all is done through computers. Okay, you can make MCQs and all that online. This is how it's done. So yeah, wasn't much lengthy, but I told you this chapter was again quite generic. The best way to do this chapter will be you just make your points notes. Don't delay it. Don't delay it, because if you delay it, you will not have time to do this afterwards. Abhi aajkal time hai, so you are obviously on online, you're not going to school. Jo time aapka bach raha hai, please 11 and 12. I'll ask you guys in the next class to show me if you made your notes. I will make sure everyone does it. Please do it. If you want to get a good grade in P3, you have to make your notes. Okay. General chapter the dono. I did not go really slow. I went fast. Yes. क्योंकि जो अगला चैप्टर हम करेंगे थर्सडे को, which is chapter 13, I will not be going fast in this. I will discuss this in a lot of detail क्योंकि chapter बड़ा important है. Okay, I'll go so by slow and we'll discuss in detail, and again it's very very important. Frankly speaking, chapter 13, 14, 15 are three important chapters. I'm not saying 11, 12 important नहीं है, काफी generic है. ठीक है? So you have to make notes for all these 5 chapters. P3 is not a big deal if you keep on listening to Mr. Saem. I'm telling you. और अगर आप मेरे मुताबिक नहीं चलोगे, फिर P3 can be a problem. And let me tell you, P3 is a problem. Students don't get good marks in P3. Please note that. It's not a good scoring paper. You get the point? So, any question, anyone? Yeah, we were able to do it really fast today. मैं obviously chapter 13 भी start नहीं कर रहा. Okay, because chapter by chapter में जाना है, and I need to give you time to make notes as well. मैं 13 में भी start कर सकता हूँ. My class का time भी है, मगर fine. You can just go back and start solving P1s, start solving P2s. Don't waste your time. Start doing it. Anyone has a question? Or I was just talking to myself?
No, sir.
No question? Right. मैं बार बार कहूँगा अपने notes बढ़ाते रहो. So I'm just going to take your attendance. So I made it short today because chapter ही छोटा था. So I'm not extending it. मैं किस दिन भी आपके notes check करूँगा कि are you doing it or not. A2, and today is 7th September. Is there any question before I end? Anyone? Any question from anyone? Okay. So आप 11 और 12 के notes बनाओ. मैं बार बार कह रहा हूँ, as soon as school opens up, I will I can take a short assessment on this. Okay. So इसके notes आप लोग please बनाते रहो. Right. Okay, guys. See you then in the next class. Right? If there is no question. Okay. I made it very short today. Fine.
Love you, sir.
Allah Hafiz.